Hello, every pony, and welcome to another episode of the Pony Public Library. Now, last week I had mentioned that we were going to get the leader of a fan club of a small little itty bitty uh, fandom of a BG pony who is growing a bit more in popularity. And every pony welcome Frankie and the leader of the Caesar Pony Fan Club.
Hey there.
And of course we have Dev.
Yeah, I'm hiding in the background.
So we this is a fan club for a background pony, an obscure one at that, as I mentioned. Well, why don't you explain who he is?
Alright. Caesar is a wealthy aristocrat that resides in Canterlot. Not too much can be said about him, but one thing I can say about is that whenever there's some sort of social event going on, he's always practically going to be there, and you just can't miss him. Yeah, he's very not that popular, but he'll get there eventually.
Oh, that's simple and effective.
Yes.
Is there a personality that you've associated with him, or is he still pretty much a blank slate?
Right now, he's still at the development phase, but he does have some, but not much at all, from what I've seen from the two fanfics I've read.
More or less, still the jerky upper class snob, right?
Well, not really. I mean, the only time you ever see him as a snob was in the Call of the Cutie Mark episode. They gave him like two voices between that episode and the Gala episode. And yeah, like he pretty much, a lot of people either go by the snob, the bored type character that's tired of the fancy life, or one just questioning things, really. That's what I've picked up over the whole time I've learned the character and all that.
Alright. So you're the leader of his fan club. What exactly do you find appealing in this pony?
Well, when I first got into the show, like, I was trying to find, like, everyone kept telling me to find a favorite pony, and then they told me the background characters are, like, the best things about the show, and I was like, get out. And then I started watching the show, and then after, like, right in the third episode, like, I just saw them popped up in Rarity's fantasy about Blue Blood, and then I thought to myself, he seemed pretty interesting and all that. And then as the season 1 went on, you kept seeing him pop up every now and then. And then finally at the gala, like, he just kept popping up so much, it just became a fun game just to say, hey, there's the monocle top hat pony. And yeah, that's how I got interested in him and all that to begin with. Like, he just kept popping up so much.
So how goes like the traffic flow within the group? It just seems like something that would be difficult to get a good following for. Though I've looked on your page and it actually has gotten a little bit of a following in the start.
Well, it's been a very slow start over the last 10 months, but I'd say give it more time and it's gonna start blossoming. I mean, like, I've been getting more and more members joining and actually more people actually remembering his name. That's the biggest difference between back then and now. Like, if you go back 10 months from now, no one would really know his name whatsoever. They'd associate him as the monocle top hat pony, like, or Mr. Fancy McFancy Gentleman Pony.
That's kind of like about him.
So, how did you start all how did you become the president of the fan club, and what did you do from there?
Funny thing is, like, at first, I didn't know really what to do at the beginning, because, like, once I found out his name, it just got a little bit more interesting, and then I was talking to my friend about how to increase the popularity of him. My friend told me, like, to do 3 things. 1, establish a group. 2, gather as much art as you can, or draw as much as you could, and try to get more people to get recognize him. And at first, I didn't really consider about making a fan club on Deviant, because I haven't used Deviant in years and all that. And the last time I recall the clubs, you'd have to make an account and just ask people to watch them just to join. And then seeing the new club system they have, I was like, oh, wow. It'd be pretty much a cinch, really, to set it up. And yeah, that's how I became the in charge of the club and all that.
Uh, one important question is that we forgot is his name. How was the name developed?
That's a bit of a hard one, really. When I haven't really found out myself, because like I found out his name at the end of season 1. They only gave him the name Caesar was because of his cutie mark for the Laurel. But a lot of the Canterlot ponies have that cutie mark, which doesn't make much sense. But for now, just gonna go with it. And yeah, it has a good catch to it, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
I'm unknown about the origins, but hey, it sounds pretty good.
Have you done any art of Caesar that you're like proud of?
My first, let's see, that's kind of funny. My first time I started doing any fan art, I actually just drew him. It didn't come out too well, but it actually looked pretty nice. And then from there on, it just slowly gotten better. But it's a little bit of mixed. But the last one I did, I'm pretty happy about it. The last one I did was right before I started the club and all that.
So how many current members of the club do you have?
Well, currently we have 25 members. We just recently lost 2 members that just left the group, but setbacks are setbacks.
And that will happen. These kinds of things, it can be hard to keep the attention of some people who do like to keep the number of things that they watch down.
Oh yeah. I mean, it happens to every club every now and then, so yeah. I had to move on.
Roughly how frequently do you get new material from the club members, just out of curiosity?
Well, I've had a lot of ideas of how to get more members. I mean, I gotta start off with the basics with the content, always updating the journals. But like, eventually when I get enough fundings, I was thinking about maybe making constant, every now and then have a couple contests to get more general interest in the character itself. And that's what I learned from most deviant clubs. Whenever they want to get more appealing to people, they just make points in the contests and all that. And yeah, that's what I thought about at first. And yeah.
I actually asked how much new content of Caesar do you get?
Well, content we get every now and then, like give it like a month or so, we get like a couple of art. At the most I've seen in 1 month, like I've gotten like 5 different pieces of art, and yeah, it's actually pretty nice. I mean, like you don't really normally see that much content of him, but when you find him more vectors and him included in comics here and there, like it's pretty nice to actually find more content. And I'm trying myself to add much more as I can with my abilities right now.
So, have you taken inspiration from any other clubs?
Can't say that I have.
On the topic of other clubs, are there any other background ponies who actually have dedicated fan bases like that?
Other than the obvious ones like Lyra.
Oh yeah, like when I first started off, I found another group that was in the same situation pretty much. It was, let me see, what was her name again? Sapphire. Oh yes. It was the Sapphire Shores fan club.
Really?
Oh yes. When it first started off, it was it was pretty like in the between of unknown, like known and not that known, but it's gone pretty far since it first started off.
Yeah, what I noticed was that a few months after that episode actually aired, I noticed a lot of people were saying, like, this is in like on a group, just this being a group based on a lot of obscurity. We sure do have a lot of ponies that get a lot of fan art. And Sapphire actually had a total search bar count up of 2 or 3 things for the longest time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it started like a month before, but it's blossomed so much since then. Like, it's gained a lot of attention, which is good. Like, most of the underrated characters need to get some more. It just takes one person to like it and build a fan in, and it will just instantly grow. People start liking it, adding their own 2 cents into it.
That's the point. Why do you think so many people do like just to have a random background character that has nothing and then just develop it into something spectacular.
That's a little bit of a hard thing, really. I mean, about most of the fans' favorite characters are normally the background characters, and that most, like about 90% of the personalities of all of them are fan generated. And I found myself thinking about that a lot of times. I mean, you look at Lyra, Bon Bon, Vanille. The thing is, what they have is that the look. I mean, if they had the look of what they're doing, that seems pretty amazing and interesting. Like, you got how Lyra does the sitting thing, and then you got Bon Bon with her hair, and then you got Vanille with her glasses and her DJing. It's just so much potential, and yeah, they got built up pretty fast. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, really.
Yeah.
Oh, alright. So, and we've been going on for about 11 minutes. How about some more general questions? What about you? And so, besides Caesar, who would be your second then?
Oh, that's the easy one. That's Lyra.
Is it the whole human thing, or is it not that?
Oh, it's definitely human thing. I mean, once I found out about that, it was just epic. And when, I mean, you connect her to so many things. You got Lyra, then you got the sea pony Lyra, and then after that, you got the mermaid Lyra, who wanted to be a part of your world, quote unquote. It's just you can but you can put on a lot of things. It just works because of her human qualities and all that. From the.
Yeah, she does have a lot. Probably the largest development of any of the background characters, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Largest fan development, anyway.
Yeah, but and then her speaking part in the season 2 finale. Do you read much fan fiction? I like they had the big one. What's the anthology, or the one where Lyra turns human? Do you read much fan fiction?
See, honestly, I've never actually read any Lyra fanfics. I've actually mostly gone on the community art and the stories from them. That's about it, really, when it comes to that. I've read a lot of fanfics, though, every now and then. I mean, I used to a lot when I first got into the fandom. Though I started off pretty badly. I read Cupcakes, and my friend tricked me into it. Yeah.
He is no longer your friend. He is buried 6 feet under.
Oh, boy.
You know, it is kind of weird how we never see any humanizations of Lyra. Not that I'm a huge fan of humanizations, but, I mean...
You just don't know where to look, Pyre.
Yep. I mean, you go maybe Peru, or you find a lot.
We can find a lot.
Well, but I mean, by comparison to the others.
Well, I suppose I see most of the humanization is based off the main 6. Well, like the main characters, because they're the main ones. But I'd say that Lyra does have a lot of humanization compared to the other background characters, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get the humanization version of Lyra, and then you pretty much got a reverse of her fan, and she wants to be a pony while the pony wants to be the human. It pretty much works either way. That's the charm about her character.
And here's a question that we actually were going to start asking. Are there any of the alternate universes that you subscribe to, like the Civil War one with the NLR and SE and the Solar Empire, or the steampunk one, or stuff like that?
No, I'm not really into those type of things.
Are there any quote-unquote famous bronies that you like the stuff of?
Oh, let's see. I've liked Past Sins. I mean, that was one of my favorite things I first started off with.
Penstroke.
I can't remember the author's name.
Penstroke.
Yeah, Penstroke. Yes, I spent my time a lot in the studying a lot when I first got into the fandom. I've met a lot of good fic writers and all that. And yeah, I got to help out. every now and then with opinions and all that. And
You help out?
like give like opinions and all, like I don't know, like sometimes they ask, and I have the free time. That's the thing about this study, like you can get a lot of things done with your progress of making a story, working on an art, making a comic here and there. Like everyone there is more prone to actually helping each other out, and that's what most of the community thing was about in there in the study, which was really good.
Yeah. Seeing as you read past sins, I actually use that as a benchmark for roughly when people join. So I'm going to say you joined probably after season 1 then?
I'd say, let's see, yeah, like give it like at least a couple of days after season 1, I got into the fandom.
Really? What brought you into the fandom?
Well, at first, like my friend, like they brought me into it. They told me about the internet memes, a little bit of 4chan here and there, and then I was told about the whole community, like brought up to it. Like you got a lot of people making music already, drawing art, making a lot of good fanfic stories, and like it was like there were so many things about it, and it was like I was a little shocked about it because I didn't remember too much about My Little Pony when I was younger, because like I watched a little bit with my sister, and it seemed a little not my cup of tea and all that. And then like after a while, my friend telling me to watch it nonstop, like I decided to give it a try. And after like about the second episode, like I just got into it. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta watch this and tell my friends.
With any of your friends?
I got like about 4 people into the show, and yeah, a lot of them liked the show as well. Like most of the internet memes are what really driven into the show for a lot of my friends that got into it. And yeah, I can't blame them. There's like so many things you can do with the ponies. I mean,
yeah, you said that bronies in real life. Then have you attended any meetups, any conventions? Are you planning to?
As for meetups, I always go with a small group. Like it's not one of those big brony meetups, but like when you go to high school and college, like you meet a lot of bronies. Like in high school, like you meet a couple of them, but when you go to college, you find a lot of them and all that.
Oh yeah.
And like it's real fun, especially like just out of nowhere, just having to talk about ponies and all that. I met like about 10 people in college that are bronies and all that, and it was really nice. As for more of the meetups, I've actually had a neighbor that was a brony, and one time we decided to watch the full season 1, do a non-alcoholic drinking game with all these custom rules, and we ran out of material after like the 4th episode. Oh, it's fun. Yeah, there's a lot of fun that we can do with a lot of bronies.
And so you don't like big conventions like BronyCon and Everfree Northwest aren't your type of thing then?
I haven't had the opportunity yet. Funding always gets in the way.
Yeah, they are kind of expensive.
I'm surprised a lot of these these bronies are able to go overseas sometimes for some of these things. I remember I was at BronyCon back in July. There was this. There were a few guys from Europe all the way. I mean, especially considering TrotCon was only a few. I mean, not TrotCon. There was a. Well, no, but considering there was a con coming up for Europe. At least I thought there was.
There are a couple. There's BronyCon, Brony UK convention. There's Gallicon. You're probably thinking Gallicon because that's in Germany.
I lost count of the BronyCons. I kept hearing it like every month. I've been hearing it like, oh, BronyCon, this, that, and like it's gonna have them here, there. I'm like, what's going on? Like each month, I kept hearing something more and more about it.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, it's mostly fan dedication.
I think that the people that work on the show are fantastic by how willing they are to outreach to the fan community.
Oh yeah, and they've done a lot with their season 2. Like almost nearly most of the season 2 was all fan service, really. Like all the nods and all that.
Big Lebowski, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, that's the point. Is there anything you're looking forward to in season 3 besides more Caesar popping up?
Oh, I was excited when I saw like the one of the songs. You see him without his vest and monocle. That blew my mind. But yeah, like I'm pretty much like I love season two, and it was pretty much like just as much fun as season one. I mean, I'm not expecting too much because I know it's gonna be a good season. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not much to really look forward to, knowing that it's gonna be great. Nonetheless, I just like to watch it and enjoy it with my friends. Really, right now, not much expectations right now.
All right. So, do we have any more questions?
I mean, we could probably fit in a couple more questions if you can think of any off the top of your head. A question for you is: we haven't even touched the music side. Are there any musicians or music pieces that you enjoy besides the official songs?
Let's see. I love a lot of the remixes of the songs. Let me see if I remember the Super Pony Beats, I think it was called.
That is one of them, I believe. There's Living Tombstone, there's DJ Alex S. Who else does stuff?
Well, Friendship is Witchcraft makes some of their own songs.
Oh yeah. Well, Friendship is Witchcraft is in a near category of its own.
There's like so many remixes and so many verses of each of the songs, and like it's just wow. That's one of my more favorite aspects of the fandom. I mean, like you take one of the normal songs, like they have it like the Pinkie Pie song that she did in, I forgot which season, when she had to babysit the kids, and then you find like a totally good remix version of it. And I'm like, wow, it's just mind blowing sometimes of what they can do with just some songs. I mean, and then you got the Brony group where mostly males are singing the song, and I'm like, wow. I just can't remember which one, but it was a big group of bronies singing Winter Wrap Up. I mean, that was
the Cult remix, guys.
I think so. Like, it wasn't much of a remix, but they were actually just singing the song. And
Bronies for Good?
I think that's the group.
Yeah, they did the whole Small Small Smile project as well, and that was fantastic.
Oh, yes. I mean...
yeah. Well... can you think of any?
I have one. Sorry. Do you have any bronies that you kind of, I'm not gonna say idolize, but what's a good word?
Aspire to be like?
Yeah.
Never really thought of it like that. The brony that I admire is Sagebrush Brony. I met the guy in Equestria Study like almost a year back, and the guy has a lot to appeal about him. Like, the guy is in shape, he's not afraid to say that he's a brony, and, you know, he doesn't take criticism that bad. Like, he doesn't let it get to him at all, and that's just pretty something. Like, a lot of bronies I met in college, like, they all are not afraid to show that they're a brony. And that's really something I admire a lot. And, like, you know, if most bronies were like that, but not to the extreme, it'd be pretty amazing, you know? It's something I like to see in a lot of the bronies and all that, and it inspires me a lot.
Alright then. Okay, and one final question then
Sure.
is, open mic. Do you want to give any shout-outs, any thank yous, any other things whilst you have the time?
Well, I'd like to thank most of the members of my group. I know I've been really slow with things. College has been really getting at me in terms of my free time, and hopefully I can do much more eventually in the future. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Frankie, for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed today. Pio, do you have anything to say?
Well, let's see. Just one thing. Just recently, we've gotten we were able to get one of the musicians to make make an intro song for us. So it's a DJ Rainbow Skies, if anybody knows it. He's you can Google that or YouTube it, either one. He's a pretty good up and coming guy. He's actually looking to join us sometime. But yeah, we should be having a theme song pretty soon, which will be awesome.
Okay. One quick announcement that springs to my mind is that recently we promised that we would bring the Ace 401's fanfiction in a very good format, and indeed we will. Over on Everfree Radio's Reading Rainbow, they have agreed to read his fanfiction as the last fanfiction that they will be reading on Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST, and we'd be very much pleased if you could listen to their live stream over on Everfree Radio's website.
For those of you listening in the future, that day would be the episode that they read and that they did on August 7th, 2012.
Yeah, it will be the third third Reading Rainbow episode released, and again it will be the last fanfiction read in this set. Finally, we are always looking for guests to have on the show. If you wish to be a guest, or if you know anyone that we should have on the show, please drop us a line on the YouTube page or email us at theponypubliclibrary@gmail.com.
Alright, so this has been Pony Public Library. For all of us here at the studio, and I'm Captain Pio, that's Dev Knights, and that is...
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining.
Anything else, Frankie?
Oh no, nothing really. Just thanks for having me on board.
No problem at all. And thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you next week.